I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers. And this is This Week
in Cruton.
It's This Week in Greg Powers of Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowerScout. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter at NextLevelD1. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com. And, of course, this is brought to you by our good chicken friends at Chicken Express.
Get some chicken today.
Get
it.
Chicken Express. Chicken for you today.
Y'all are going to lose
Eat
this
it.
sponsorship.
Eat it. Chicken.
No, I mean,
chicken.
listen, I have one thing to say, right?
Yes.
If
Please
you're
do.
looking to buy chicken, why would you buy chicken that comes in a teeny tiny little box?
Do you know what the other thing? Oh, yeah, that's a great point. And you get some value there. And here's the other
I
thing.
feel like you ruined his punchline.
That's all right.
Oh, you want the big box? Go ahead, do your big box thing.
No, you got to get the big box.
Yeah, get the big box. Here's what I appreciate about Chicken Express, besides everything, and besides sponsoring this segment. What I appreciate about Chicken Express, it is not fair to call them tenders. Those are big honkers. You do not get skimped on the size of the chicken tenders at Chicken Express.
You just do not get skimped on the
You
big honkers.
You couldn't actually fit the Chicken Express tenders in a tiny red box.
No.
You need the big yellow box. That's the only thing that will accommodate.
Why would you even try?
You
know
shouldn't.
what I mean? I think that's right.
And if you're a man who's out there, or woman, getting a small box of chicken,
Go get you some big honkers.
it's a shame. It's a
go
shame.
get you some big honkers today.
Big old honkers. It's This Week in Recruiting. We're going to lose the sponsorship. It's This Week in Recruiting. Greg Powers, the Next Level Athlete. A lot to get to in the state of Texas. We'll start with our prospect on the rise. Prospect on the rise. Go down to the Austin area, to Austin Aikens. We're going to talk a ton about Austin Aikens, but they've got a 2022 offensive lineman you need to know about named Nikolas Hall. 6'5", 285, picked up an offer this week from Iowa State. And how about this? This is the first time we've mentioned this in like a year and a half.
Man, isn't it nice?
I'm going to read this directly from TexasFootball.com. And set up his first 2 official visits
Wow.
to Oklahoma State and Baylor. It's official visit season. Although this is assuming that the NCAA doesn't extend the dead period, et cetera, et cetera. Point is, Nikolas Hall is going on some visits, and he appears to be in Big 12 country.
And on that note with the NCAA, I do believe that there's a meeting set for the middle of April to kind of make sure that they go over all of those rules to determine if the official visits can begin to happen June 1st, which is right now set to end the recruiting dead period, which has seemed like it's been here forever. It's nice to have actual recruiting, real recruiting news.
There's a light at the end of the dead period tunnel. There is, and it seems like, and you're more wired in than I am, the tea leaves from what I'm reading seem to indicate that the NCAA, assuming things continue in the positive direction that the coronavirus is taking, will lift the dead, or at least allow the dead period to expire at the end of May.
And I think that's what will happen because you're starting to see teams to send out these graphics and stuff that they probably wouldn't take the time to set up all this stuff if there weren't some indications that that's the direction it was going to trend in, or that they're thinking that's what's really going to happen. And for these class of 2022 recruits like Nikolas Hall, who started to pick up all these offers, it's very important because they didn't have the opportunity to really go and see these games last season, see these schools in person, have interactions with the coaches man-to-man, a family to coach. You know, these are all things that help them make a decision. And this is a year because of the returning player. You know, the senior players can come back, and the year of eligibility was extended for these guys who played last season. They have to make a quick decision, and they're in a position where they need to take the offer that they want now. And sometimes that doesn't always lead to making a well-informed decision. And you want these high school players who are in this situation to be able to have that opportunity. So it's really big news for these guys, and they're really excited. Everybody who I'm talking to is extremely excited about having the opportunity to get out and get their feet back on these campuses. Transitioning here to Nikolas Hall, he's a guy who – it's a good offensive line class year. You know, we're putting together the first, second, third super teams for the magazine, and the depth this year is pretty unbelievable at offensive line. Nikolas Hall is a guy who's not even in the DCTF Hot 100 right now, but has those type of skills. He's a big, powerful offensive lineman. Doesn't play at a school that, like you said, is known for producing a ton of top-tier talent, but he has that talent. He looks the part. He moves really well, and he's strong at the point of attack. So he checks all the boxes for a guy who can continue to rise up recruiting charts and has some nice Big 12 schools coming after him hot and heavy.
Yes, he's a guy to keep an eye on. And again, kind of off that beaten path there. We don't talk a ton about Austin Akins, but they got a good one there in Nikolas Hall. Let's move over to our commit of the week. Our commit of the week, we're going to the DFW Metroplex to talk about the 2022 Little Elm cornerback Keyshon Mills. He has committed to Colorado, had offers from Kansas and Liberty. He decides to go the Pac-12 route. And of note, Colorado has had, I would say, an inconsistent footprint in the state of Texas. There are times where it feels like they're drawing kids left and right, and then there are other times where they just go dormant for a couple of years. This is the third Texan that Colorado has hauled in this class of 2022 with West Rusk quarterback Owen McCown and Pearland safety Dylan Dixon, but Keyshon Mills makes 3.
Yeah, and I really like Keyshon Mills. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of surprised that he doesn't have a little bit more attention going on. He was one of those guys who was on the radar very early. He came to the Next Level Athlete Showcase last January and put on a show there. And has the desired size. He's 6 foot, 170 pounds, moves in and out of his breaks tremendously well, and just has the ability to run step for step with wide receivers down the field, which is something that I really, that's a trait that I can admire in a defensive back. And Colorado is a school that I think should try to cash in on the success that Laviska Chenault had there. By and large, if he wasn't injured last year, I think that he could have been the second best wide receiver in college football.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think anybody was going to be number one. There was only one name there. But Colorado is a school that I think could have success, especially in the DFW. There's a direct flight basically there. It's a beautiful campus. And I think that a lot of kids would enjoy it if they had their chance to go up there and visit.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see that. And actually, last night, I was finishing up putting together our recruiting database because I'm in charge of doing the recruiting between the numbers for TexasFootball.com, or I'm sorry, Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Colorado ended up bringing in 3 Texans last year. A safety from Katie Taylor, and a guard from Mineola, and then the Shadow Creek defensive tackle. So they're getting a foothold back here. And the Pac-12 has not necessarily, basically aside from Arizona, because of some footprints that they have in the state of Texas, thanks to Kevin Sumlin, et cetera, they haven't had a consistent presence in the state of Texas, maybe outside of USC and Arizona. But Colorado can make those inroads. It'll be interesting to keep an eye on the Buffaloes moving forward. We are Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com. We're talking This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers. All right. Let's get to our Underclassmen of the Week. Our Underclassmen of the Week, staying in the DFW Metroplex, going to Denton Ryan.
Denton Geyer.
Oh, Denton Geyer. Okay, good. I was going to say, if Denton Ryan has another prospect, I'm going to be mad.
Yeah.
I'm going to be real mad.
I typed Ryan twice. That one's on me.
Yeah, well, do you know
that one's? It's actually
it's
on me.
It's wrong on the website.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ha.
Pickle. It's not our fault.
Let's go.
Power screwed up.
Yes.
No. It can't be true because I thought this in my head. I thought, did I type? I actually thought about this too. That's the bad thing.
Okay.
I thought, when I typed it, I thought, did I type that wrong? And then I swear that I went back and checked it. But I will say I blame Microsoft Word.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't us. Woo! Denton Geyer.
The copy and paste bandit.
Defensive back Ryan Yates picked up an in-state offer this week from SMU. And he's got a nice, impressive list of offers growing here. Notre Dame, Colorado, Ole Miss, Maryland. A real diverse group of offers. I found it interesting. This is his first in-state offer. That these out-of-state programs have had a little bit better success, or at least have taken notice earlier of Ryan Yates, the cornerback, safety, whatever you want to call him. can probably play either corner or safety. But Brian Yates is shooting up recruiting charts.
And he's a guy that'll step into the spotlight more at Denton Guyer this year now that Deuce Harmon has moved on to Texas A&M. He's going to be their guy in the defensive backfield. It wouldn't be a surprise to see them move him to safety. That's what they did with Deuce. Deuce played corner his junior year. Then he moved to safety his senior year where he could be more of an influence, on both sides of the field, right? And this guy is a long, lean, rangy defender who will take that move or make that move very easily. But watching his tape at corner strictly, he's a guy who has great ball skills and shows a knack for getting a hand in there to break up a pass or he's just a heady defensive back, a guy who just seems to have a good awareness of where he is on the field and what he needs to do to make a play. And that's something that you can really appreciate when watching his tape. And he's got 5 offers now. SMU was his first in-state offer, but I don't think it'll be his last. I mean, with his size and the program that he plays within, Denton Guyer is no stranger to producing a lot of top-tier college prospects. It's only the beginning for Ryan Yates as more people find out about him, watch his tape. If they get a chance to see him in live action, they're going to be blown away with his physique and his upside, and I think that's what you're going to see him continue to rise up recruiting charts here in the summer.
Yeah, Denton Guyer, he's a guy certainly to keep an eye on. And finally, let's round it all out with our Recruit of the Week. Our Recruit of the Week is Euless Trinity running back Ollie Gordon out of the class of 2022. He is the newest 4-star prospect in the DCTF Hot 100. He is an Oklahoma State commit. He pretty much took over the internet for a day whenever he ran wild on Allen and in the playoffs and pretty much I don't want to say single-handedly. Obviously, the rest of the team had a lot to do with it.
Had the largest impact.
He had a monster impact in their win over Allen in the playoffs, and he was spectacular in their game. And so Ollie Gordon is our Recruit of the Week for earning his 4th star in the DCTF Hot 100.
And, that performance in the playoffs makes it easy to make a call like this, right? When you see not only his tape is really good, he has the physique that you're looking for, the ability to run with a low pad level and pick up yardage, but when the spotlight was on him the brightest, he was able to step up. And I think that's, in my head, like the determining factor. Another thing that he has going for him is he's been a terror on the 7-on-7 circuit. And, Euless Trinity is not one of those teams that's going to put their running back in a position to be a consistent pass catcher. They don't play a whole lot of team 7-on-7 where you get to see a guy like this run routes and do a lot of different things. But he's really impressive. I mean, has some highlight viral sensation type of clips out there on Twitter right now where he's been able to climb the ladder and make some superior catches. And to put that in hand with what he's done on the field, I think it's a pretty easy call that he should have been a 4-star already. So we just went ahead and pulled the trigger on it.
So there you go. The newest 4-star in the DCTF Hot 100. You can find that at texasfootball.com/recruiting. You can also find the fine work of Greg Powers, next level athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScalpel, next level athlete on Twitter, next level D1. See his fine work at texasfootball.com/recruiting and eat Chicken Express.